Welcome, pest interceptors. Is it interceptors?
Interceptors.
We've just gone,
go through this
we've
every
just gone
time.
and typed them in, and it's couldn't get
You
it.
said
there.
defenders last time.
Oh,
or something.
defenders, that
I'm
was
like,
it,
no.
So, where have you been then? Tell us about where you've been.
Well, last time we came in, we had my son with us. He was ready to do work experience, which he did. He loved it. He was basically just driving around a van all day listening to music and squirting the odd wasp nest. So he loved it. But yeah, I sent him to do most of the wasps. Obviously, I didn't send him up any ladders or anything like that. It's totally kind of against health and safety, isn't it, really? But yeah, all the sort of easy ones, so to speak, he did, and yeah, did it well.
Because you're his dad and you don't like wasps. So
well, exactly. I hate wasps. So the more he could do, the better. It was the easiest week at work for me ever.
And he didn't get stung.
And he didn't get stung. No.
So he showed his dad how to do it.
I've had 3 stings this year so far, and the one's only just stopped itching, and it was 2 weeks ago, literally.
Really?
Yeah, crazy. It stung me through my glove, right? And honestly, it was itching for the best part of 2 weeks. Crazy.
It's a weird thing, them stings, isn't it? It's a weird thing. The more they hurt you at the time, the less length of time they hurt you for. Yeah. Sometimes you get stung, don't you? And it's like, oh, that's not so bad. And then a month later, it's still hurting. Yeah. It's crazy.
That, like I say, that was through my glove, so it probably wasn't the full sting.
The full whack.
Yeah, but honestly, itching like
yeah, because we haven't been in for a couple of months, isn't it? Is it 2 months we had it up?
Yeah, I mean, we've been mega busy.
Well, I was going to say you were really busy when you come last time, weren't you? So has that, it's been a weird summer with weather, so has that changed what you do or what you normally do?
Oh, it has a little bit.
Weirdly, I mean, I've said this to so many customers over there, because I pretty much deal with all the wasps while Chris and Ricky go and do kind of the hard jobs, so to speak, the complicated stuff. But I've said to all customers, like, the rubbish summer we've had with rain and everything, I mean, it really has been a terrible summer, hasn't it, really?
Yeah.
But the wasps have been crazy. They really have. I can't work it out, because sometimes when you get a blazing hot summer, the wasps just aren't there. Yeah. It just makes no sense. I've been doing wasps, like doing torrential rain, and I've been trying to blast wasps up a ladder in the pouring down rain. It's just mental.
It's been a very, very strange year, hasn't it? It's like you know, like how we were always mentioning about the bees and stuff, how we remove the bees from chimneys and things. Well, this time of the year, we would nearly always say to the customer, unless it's an emergency and it has to be done now, because of the amount of bees and the 80 litres or so of honey that will be in there to get them through the winter, we would usually be putting them off. But this year we haven't had to do that, because we've literally been going up on the chimneys and there's been nothing in there. There's been a colony of bees, but there's been no honey in there whatsoever. So basically, I don't know how this is going to affect the bees next year. It's a little bit concerning, really. But I was saying to you before we started recording, wasn't I? You know, the bees that we do rescue and we keep them down at Kimber at our apiary. We'd have them just take half a day out every week to go and feed the biggin bees.
Is that because of the plant? You know, less pollen or whatever it is in the plant. Yeah. Really, it's weird, isn't it?
And because they can't fly in the torrential rain, and it's literally been torrential rain, hasn't it?
Yeah.
For weeks and weeks on end. Yeah. And I mean, I don't know how that's going to pan out next year. I guess we'll find out next year when the dreaded swarm season starts.
Yeah, there's no way of knowing. I mean, you just can't predict anything. My favourite line I say to customers all the time is, nature doesn't play by the rules. No. And it gets me out of lots of situations where I haven't caught the mouse or the mole or something. I just blame nature. It's fine, yeah. It's my favourite line, that is. Nature doesn't always play by the rules, but it really doesn't. You don't know what's going to happen. You know, you could have 3 months of blazing sun and not a single wasp.
We've had a lot of mice work as well, haven't we? Mice and the rat work that we do all around the country. Because usually what we find is there's a spike in when the temperatures start to drop and the nights get colder and darker and things. We find there's a situation where you tend to have a pickup of mice and rat jobs in people's houses. I personally
is that because they're coming into the warm? Or?
Well, this is what a lot of pest controllers will say, and I've said it myself a few times, but over the years it's started to dawn on me that it's not because of the temperatures outside affecting the mice or the rats, it's affecting the humans, because you're in the house a lot more.
Yeah.
And so instead of being out in the garden, the kids running around like lunatics, wintertime, you're indoors at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You hardly go out, do you? So you're going to observe it more often. Yeah. And I think that's what causes it. I don't think it's got anything to do with the weather. I think field mice is different, because field mice come in the winter But house mice live in a house. Why would it make any difference to them? Rats, as you probably know if you've listened to any of our other podcasts or radio shows, the truth is 99% of the time the rats are coming out the sewers. And the sewers are a perfect little biosphere of temperature, really.
You just made up a new word.
I think I did.
Biosphere.
Has like the rain and all the flooding, like oosed all the rats out of it because there's been that much flooding? Has it been worse or?
I don't know. You do most of the rat jobs.
Well, it's hard to say, isn't it? Because our brand is growing so quickly and massively. We're kind of. It's hard to look at the calls that are coming in and retrospectively look at them from years ago because we're like a completely different business now. So it's a little bit difficult to say, but those spikes with mice and rats, especially on the rats front, we're as busy doing these rat-free guarantees that we do all over the country. We're doing like one or two a week, one or two a week of these jobs. London's a hot spot for them, isn't it?
Yeah, London,
really?
Kent, Manchester area, that kind of thing. I'm basically every day I'll send them halfway across the country to go and do a job. I say, "You going to Kent tomorrow, Chris?" It's like, "Oh, let me know."
It's a real crying shame that Star Trek never invented that teletransporter thing. You know, if I could click a button and be somewhere, it would be awesome. But but it's the travelling time that slows us down. Getting places, Can I ask about, because folks have been saying to me they're seeing loads of badgers about, coming onto the estates. Well, because I'm at the top of Rowley, so you'd have like all the waste ground on either side. And 2 or 3 people have said to me, "Did you see that badger going down so and so close the other night?" No. It says, well, they're coming more. Is it because they're sort of being braver like the foxes were? And I see foxes all over the shop now, don't you? Yeah. No, absolutely. Well, like. Here's a good example, right, of why some things are crazy in the world nowadays, right? If you live capture a fox in a town, right, it would be a criminal offence to go and release that fox in the woods somewhere, right, in the countryside.
Really?
Because that fox won't survive.
No.
It's adapted so much to living off kebabs and curries and McDonald's, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you used to put it out in a field full of chickens, it wouldn't know what a chicken was. It'd be like, well, this ain't got crispy.
I was going to say, no KFC, wouldn't it? Sorry, other brands are available. That's good, so.
This ain't no finger licking good, is it? I'm having this.
I'll tell you what.
Where's the bucket?
Would they be, not a danger, but would they cause as much damage as a fox can do?
Yeah, badgers. Well, badgers.
Your parents' house, the garden, wasn't it? We had to go and put an electric fence all around his parents' garden.
Yeah, because they were literally pulling away these boulders that their back of the house is built on. Huge, big boulders. And they were just pulling them out like they was just gravel or something, They are super powerful.
Really?
I think the European badger is the fastest digging animal on the planet. The most powerful digging animal. So, their sets can be 100, 200 metres across.
Really?
Huge, absolutely.
Well, I don't think I've ever seen a live badger. I've only ever seen them dead in the road. I don't think I've ever actually seen a badger live walking around. Genuinely.
They're quite impressive beasties, man.
But you see them all the time on the road, don't you?
Like clappers. This woman said who said to me, they don't half mountain. When they're on the
Some of the girls from one of the local pubs was telling me last year that there's this badger and they have to walk past it every night down this alleyway once all the pubs are shut and they're on the way home. And they have to stand there and do a little standoff with it every night. And this badger's like, yeah, come on then, come on. But I mean, you got to think about it, right? Badgers, okay, they look lovely and cuddly and all the rest of it. But like how we've had all these scares over the years. We haven't had one for a few years where a fox has come into someone's house and bitten a baby, right? Well, the first thing the baby's going to do is scream, and then the fox is going to go and run off, right? Because it's that kind of a timid animal. The badger is the apex predator in this country. It's the top. It ain't scared. There ain't nothing out there. When they used to do badger baiting, the things they used to have to do to the badger before they set a pack of dogs on it, because it would just wipe out the dogs, it was terrifying. Well, we don't even want to go on into it really. But if you look it up, you'll be shocked at what they used to do to the badger before the dogs were set on it. So you think about all these people who keep feeding them and giving them all the food and cat food in the back garden and all that because they're cute. Well, one day some badger's going to go in someone's house and it ain't going to bite the baby and run off. It's going to bite the baby and go, oh, I think that's nice, a nice snack.
Yes.
And what you're going to do, stop a badger, it'll break your legs.
Kentucky Fried Baby.
It's going to, oh, no.
We was just talking off air about Bob Ellis, were we?
Well, no, I don't know how we got onto it. What I got onto it was the quiz show. I don't know if anybody saw it. The Alan Carr quiz show, which was called, I can't remember. Basically,
something in the cats, is it?
No. They show pictures and people just have to say what the picture is. It's that simple. But a picture of a daddy longlegs came on the screen, and the two contestants didn't know what it was.
No.
I'm like, what?
And I think that. You just think, how on earth can they not know that? It's like when, I find it funny, it's off the subject. When I watch University Challenge and they play somebody, say they're playing Joni Mitchell, and they go, the question is, just guess the name of the artist, blah, 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 and then you'll get the same stuff. And it's Johnny Cash, and they go, oh, I think that's Glenn Campbell, these young kids. And you go, no!
Yeah, but I bet if a picture of Drake or someone came on the screen, you wouldn't know what it is.
No, probably not. No. Anyway, back to the pests. Back to the pests.
Right. Got any questions? Any questions for us?
Oh, right. Have I got to do one? Yeah.
Go on then.
Oh, here's a one. This is quite a long one, so you've got to listen to this. I live in a semi and I'm doing everything I can to get rid of the mice. But the trouble is the next door neighbour's house is like a building site. Do we name where this one comes from? They have admitted that they have mice. He's been building an extension for 8 months now. The mice definitely came from his house and I can see the opening where the mice get in. The pest controller told us we would never get rid of them as long as they have them. Oh, Stuart Smith it is from YouTube. Yeah. I thought that was the next door neighbour. Name and shame.
Well, yeah. So basically, that's one big house to a mouse or a rat or a squirrel at the end of the day. If you're semi-detached, it's one big house. Obviously, a rodent doesn't know it's two separate houses. No idea at all. So, yeah, they could quite easily be coming in from next door. And quite a lot of time, neighbours don't play ball, do they, Chris? It's like, if you've got a problem neighbour and you're asking them to do something and they won't do it, if it's pest related, then you're stuck. What do? There are legal routes you can go down to force them into doing stuff if there's proof that it's coming from their side.
But you never want to get to that point.
Yeah.
You never want to get to that point because the amount of times we see, neighbours fall out over pests. It's a pest. It doesn't. Believe me. The stigma that goes with like rats and mice and certain pests and not other pests, I've never really got my head around that really. But certain pests have this stigma, especially rats and mice. And it's like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Honestly, 95%, 99% of our customers we go to, their houses are absolutely immaculate, aren't they?
Yeah.
Absolutely immaculate.
Yeah.
And it's always, then you get like the problems. It's always that bloke down the road and he's got all that down there, all that junk in the garden, or it's the takeaway next door.
And also, you'll go around the neighbour's house and they'll be like, well, I haven't heard anything. And you're like, you have heard something. You just don't want to admit it. Do you know what I mean?
We get that with the rat-free guarantees down there, that we do. It's because I've done this for so many years now. I already know the answer to my questions I'm asking the people. So we'll knock on the neighbour's door and they haven't got rats. And I know they've got rats, I can see all the signs, I can see everything, and I just let them chunter on a lot of the time. And then I'll say, oh, that's funny, because, well, why have you got them rat traps down there? Like, I don't miss a thing being like, I'm very observant.
Can they be a bit offish with you to start with, or you just, just say, we're here for you as much as we are for the woman?
Yeah, and quite often you'll do some work for the customer that's called you out. You'll go to all, the end of the earth to sort their rat problem out, and you're doing their neighbours a favour as well, because you're sorting their problem out. Because, like I say, it's one big house, but the neighbour doesn't care about that. And so their neighbour, your customer, is paying hundreds of pounds to sort the problem out. They don't give a hoot at the end of the day.
It's crazy. I use that quite often with problem customers. I like try and pull them aside and say, look, I'll let you into a little secret here. This would have cost you thousands, but this person next door, I'd be shaking their hands if I was them, and just try and kidologise people, innit? That's what you have to do sometimes. And we're always in the position where we're like the middle of everything, aren't we? We want to be everyone's friend, but it's like there's a proper term for it, isn't there? Devil's advocate, we don't upset anyone. We don't want to get on either side or anyone's side. We just want to sort the problem out, but annoyingly for us, we have to deal with people and pests.
Sometimes the people are the pests.
They can be, yeah.
So with Stuart, you go next door and try and talk the bloke around, or?
Yeah, you'd have to. I mean,
Well,
otherwise.
the thing is, though, this time of the year, that's going to be field mice.
Yeah, but also it might not be what Stuart is thinking. There might be a big opening the house next door, but it could be coming through an air brick on Stuart's side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
You kind of have to take out things out of the equation. So, yeah, go around the neighbours, seal up what you think is the opening. If it carries on, you've got to start thinking.
Yeah, you were wrong, weren't you?
Yeah, you've got to start thinking elsewhere, and then you've got to try. I mean, mice is such a tricky one because they can get through a hole as big as your little finger, especially house mice. And say if it's a row of terraced houses and that someone's got house mice in there, it's well, it's not impossible, but it's nearly impossible to try and figure out. They could be coming in 5 houses
like
down.
That one on Bromley Lane, Bromley Lane, just outside of Kingswinford, what used to be the Masons.
Oh yeah.
Up by the Spar up there, and I think there are 8 or 10 in a row, the houses. And they'd had mice in one of these blocks for years and years. We sorted it. We did sort it, but it took 8 weeks to do it. 8 weeks.
So then would you have to go in each property first?
Well, you see, we as professionals, we have a little secret thing up our sleeve that we can use as a very last line of defence. We still have to go through a process legally, and for many, many other reasons. We have to go through the process, starting with traps, identify what species of mouse it is, then it might be poison. If it's house mice though. If it's field mice, no, can't be done. Right, so if you get to a certain point, these mice in this block of flats, they'd seen everything, because everyone in the row of houses had all been trying different things. So they'd seen traps, they'd seen this, they'd seen that, they'd seen the other. One thing they hadn't seen was what's called contact gel. So this is professional use only stuff. And this contact gel, it's a rodenticide, but it works by getting on their fur. So it's it almost looks like jam, doesn't it? Like raspberry jam, it looks like. And you put it on on some tape that you can take up later, because it's very, very potent stuff. You know, it'll absorb through your skin. But what happens with them is when they go across this gel, it gets on their belly fur and on their feet and things like that. And when they get back to the nest, they do communal cleaning, and they do that with their mouths. So they ingest the poison that way, and it'll wipe out the whole nest.
Oh, right.
But you can't use that as the first line of defence, because it's literally lethal stuff. It's really horrible. But I'll tell you how clever house mice are.
I was going to say, do they go up to a trap and then
they're insanely, man. Really? They're insanely clever.
We learned some stuff on that job up Bromley Lane, I'll tell you. It was unbelievable. Because we was working, the only access we'd got, our house was in the middle of the row-ish, I think. So you got houses either side of them, but like Mark was saying, it's all one big house to a mouse, or a family of mice. And the only access we got to them was a little cupboard that was where the boiler used to be. There were some old pipe holes and stuff. So we were kind of working from there. So the first week, put traps down, catches one. But then we watched these little house mice, and what these house mice had learned to do was go up on the back of the traps. So the traps, even if they went off, it wouldn't hurt them. Oh, it's so clever, so clever. And house mice, they're so tiny, the little ones, they can literally sit on the trigger, and just as long as they don't jump up and down, that ain't going off, and they'll eat what's in the cup to tempt them in. So then we had to step it up. So now we know it's house mice, so now we can use rodenticides, poisons. They was literally taking a poo on the top of the stuff. They were like, yeah, right, I ain't eating that. You know what I mean? That makes you ill, that does. Yeah. So we went down that route, tried different routes with that. Couldn't get them to take any of the bait. And then we got to the point where it's like, well, we're going to have to go in with the big guns, this contact gel. Puts it down on the tape. And then we watched it back a week later. And we watched the mice coming out of these little pipe holes in the floor, seeing this stuff. Now, they've never seen it before, but they knew there was something about different. It was like, I don't like this stuff. I don't trust it, like, you know.
Neophobia to the max, isn't it?
Yeah. So, and what we watched them do was stand on the edge of the pipe hole and literally arch their back over like that, put their hands on the other side of the tape and jump over it.
Really?
So we had to go back the next week and double up the thickness of it. And then when we watched them again, I was like, look at them, the cheeky.
It made a great video on YouTube. It made a great video.
But it just shows you how clever they are. Just shows you how clever they are. But using the contact gel did cure the whole block of houses, basically.
With your stuff that you know, like the stuff that you've finally got to use. Do you have to have legal clearance to use that?
We have to be qualified to buy the professional use stuff.
Yeah.
But annoyingly, you can easily pick it up online somewhere without being qualified.
So not the contact gel.
No, probably not. But there's certain things that you'd be able to go on eBay and just buy, which is really frustrating because we've had to do the course and pass the exam and pay the money and all that. But people can still just go out and buy it.
Yeah. And there's a reason why it should be difficult to buy and difficult to use.
Because I mean, if it's used incorrectly, could cause harm to humans, I suppose. Really.
And also like the birds of prey and stuff that eat the mice that have been poisoned. It's frustrating, but.
Is it always updating what you've, the legalities that you've got to do?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they keep on making it harder for pest controllers to do things.
The what we use for the wasps, which every pest controller uses for wasps, is a product called FlyComD, which is just the best thing because we've tried all different stuff. Everyone uses that, and in 2025 that's coming off the market. So it's like, there's another thing that we could use, but it's not as good. It's like, well, why?
And who's done that? The government?
It's a lot to do with the labelling, because to make the labels, if you've got to change the label, it costs like £1 million or something. It's crazy because of all the legislation and things like that. So every time there's a slight change, or the government says, "Oh, I don't want you to do that anymore," you've got to change a couple of words on the sticker on the back of the box. That'll cost you £1 million. So the companies go, "Well, we'll just get rid of it." It's kind of business, isn't it?
We are back with the lads. I've noticed only question. I've never heard of it. Shopify shipping. Oh. So what's that then? Is that something you expand in the business, or?
It's took over my life. Mine and Ricky, my son, one of our business partners. It's basically taken over our life. Because as we're growing now in the brand and stuff like that, what we want to do is we've started doing like merch, right? So not that anyone's ever going to buy our merch, but if you do want to buy some merch, get on our YouTube channel. And
mugs and all sorts of
we got mugs, we got all sorts, t-shirts, yeah. I mean, whether we ever sell any, I don't know.
Chris bought one.
I bought £170 worth. I bought £170 worth of stuff just to see what it was going to be like, and it came, and we earned 23 quid out of that. So we're never going to become millionaires, are we?
Really?
Out of that line of things, but I mean that took 2 months to set up and organise and stuff, and everything nowadays is supposed to be like plug in and play, innit? As soon as I see that on something, I'm like, chuck it in the bin. I don't want to know, because nothing works. Nothing's the way it should be, is it? And there's no one to speak to. And if anyone out there is an expert in Shopify and how you join it to your YouTube channel, please, by all means, get in touch with us, because...
So is it like the shopping channel then?
No,
your
it's
nerd goes onto that channel?
It's basically like... it's a middleman, like a lot of these businesses are now. They're just a middleman, like Uber. They don't own anything or do anything. All it is a middleman for the taxis, isn't it? Between you and the taxi driver. Shopify is a bit like that. So basically, people can go on our YouTube channel, see something that we're using, say our new mouse traps or rat traps, something like that. Click on a little icon on there and go, "Oh, right, it'll take you to our Shopify shop."
And
the idea of it is it's so much more efficient and brilliant and all the rest of it. Once it's set up, that is.
Yeah.
We've been set up 3 times now. Every time it's been set up, we've literally sold stuff straight away, and then within 2 days, this same old thing, what's it called? It comes up, misrepresentation. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh, I have nightmares and dreams about it. It's
funny because we sold 2 of our rat flaps on there, and then the next day they took the Shopify channel down.
Yeah, but they don't tell you they're going to do
this
it.
This is the host or whatever it is.
Yeah.
The powers that be, the YouTube people.
Who is it? I don't know, because if I found them, I'd punch them in the nose. And shake them by the neck and say...
So we basically have got like £15,000 worth of stuff
in my front room, piled up
to sell that we can't currently sell. We sold 2 of them.
Yeah.
But it's ridiculous, and it's like people, and it'll come up and it'll be sold as 24-hour support and we're here to help you. No, they're not. All they do is they put on you click on the need help, and then it'll give you a list of things. Read this thing, read that. It turns out this thing that's slowing us down, this misrepresentation, could be about 1,000 different things, and we've got 100 different products on there. So now we've got to look through each one for each kind of correlation, and then you think you found it, and it'll let you back on, and then all of a sudden it comes along again and goes, no, we found something, no misrepresentation. I'm like, what? Just tell me what it is.
So if somebody out there has got one of these,
or
or knows how to set it up, or stop them checking it off.
Yeah. I think it's actually Google Merchant that's the problem, which is another middleman in the middleman world.
And there's no way of avoiding Google, is there? Because Google is everything. Google owns YouTube.
And you can't lie. You can't lie anymore. You can't take a route round anything. They know everything, don't
Nobody doesn't use Google. It's like when you go on, when you tell somebody to search something on the internet, you say Google it, don't you? You don't say Bing it.
Yeah. But there's got to be somebody out there who's successfully doing this, isn't there?
Yeah, come and help us.
So coming up, these lads.
Honestly, because Chris is going to have a nervous breakdown, the veins in his head. Honestly.
And because it's 2 months since he stopped smoking.
If I turn up at his house and the Shopify's gone wrong again, my God, don't we know about it? Tell me.
It has been a weakness with the nicotine missing as well.
So get in touch. If you know anything about it.
And also, if you know anything about shipping and importing, with loads of hives on the way from China that are coming into the port somewhere next week.
Oh right.
And they said, okay, to release it so we can deliver it to you, you've got to fill out this form. We've got to have an EROI code and this code and that code and this, and we're looking at it like it's written in Arabic, thinking what the.
It is literally like a totally different language, isn't it?
Yeah, we've got to know somebody about that.
The stresses of modern business.
Somebody's got to deal with that, who we know, really. Because
please.
We've got folks who, cars and stuff like that, they deal with some. Anyway, so if you know all about that, shall we do rat mites?
Oh, well, that's a new one, that.
Talking about rat mites, are they a horrible pest?
Well, I think they might be the next pest, the next big thing.
Well, before you start, how are we getting on with the Jersey hornet things that were going to come in on the
they're
country?
Everywhere now. They're everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I saw in the paper that my paper had a picture of them. It says we are being invaded.
Yeah. And they're going to do exactly the same here, like we said a few podcasts ago. Exactly the same as what we've said on our YouTube channel. Exactly what we've said with the expert that we interviewed from France, who tried to help in Jersey, and they said no, we know better. Jersey now is absolutely full of Asian hornets, and now we've got them here. So it started on the south coast. I'm sure I saw yesterday that there was one up in somewhere in the northeast of England, right? So they're here. They're here now.
So they'll just multiply.
And what are they doing, mate? They're doing exactly the same as Jersey did. They've got all these, in inverted commas, experts, and all that really needs to be done is they should just be spotting where the nest is, ring a pest controller, come and kill it.
It's dealt with exactly the same way as a wasp nest. At the end of the day, it's literally
no different.
A 2-minute job for a pest controller. It's
infuriating to watch it. We're literally watching what we were saying months ago pan out now. It's literally happening now, and it's like all these do-gooders and the beekeeping community, which we're beekeepers as well, so don't shout at us. But this isn't a job for beekeepers. It's a job for pest controllers, and studying them is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Get out there, get them whacked, done. That's it. There's no point. What are you going to learn about them? What's the point in learning anything about them? They shouldn't be here. Get rid of them. It's.
Anyway, back to the wire.
You can tell I ain't smoke, can't you?
Yeah, he's a bit touchy today. Anyway, back to the rat mites.
Rat mites.
I don't know where this came from. How did you get onto this? Because you said this.
Well, because one of the rat-free lifetime guarantee jobs that we're doing is for a couple down in London, and she kept saying to me that she'd been doing a load of research herself, and every time the rats seemed to go away, whether someone was putting poison down or something like that, all of a sudden they were inundated with getting bitten by these things that looked like a thing called a bird mite. And they weren't bird mites. Bird mites, they live on birds, as the name would suggest. Very closely related to bed bugs, right? But their food is birds. So what happens is, if the birds fledge the nest or the birds die and there's no blood source for them to feed on, all of a sudden they've got to go and find some more food. And they'll literally come out of the loft where the bird's nest is, and they'll find you and they'll have a feed off you. Okay, so when she told me what they were and she showed me some videos, I was like, they look like bird mites to me. But then she said, no, because we've been down that route and we've checked, there's no bird's nest, so it can't be those because it doesn't add up. And then she started saying that it was these rat mites. And I've 15 years I've been doing this. I've never heard of rat mites in my entire life. And it turns out she was teaching me something. And we've got some coming from an entomologist at the moment. Because what's happening, you see, is the same thing. They're getting rid of the rats periodically. And then all of a sudden there's no rats for the rat mites to go and have a feed off. So now they're coming into your house and having a feed off these people. And then when the rats return, because they always do, unless you get the rat-free guarantee with us, the rat mites are going to and from, basically. They prefer the rats, so they'll feed on the rats go away, they feed on the humans. But when I've been doing a bit of research on these things over the last few days, wow, they are very, very... I could see this becoming a big problem, you know, because it's bad enough having rats, but the rats are underneath your floors and in your walls and in your loft. They ain't really affecting you as such, unless you've got a situation where they're in your kitchen and stuff. But the truth is, if you mix... It's almost like the old... the Black Plague and all that, you know, like with the fleas on the rats. It's kind of, it's like a rerun of that. I can see it happening here.
So it's strange that they don't transfer any diseases from the rats to the humans,
We don't
or
know.
do they? I don't know.
They're such a new thing.
Too early, yeah. And
It's
would they hybrid with bird mites and bed bugs and stuff?
Well, they're all kind of, because I think I'm right with this. I dare say all the pest controllers who watch this will be shooting me down here, but I can't know everything. I'll try to. So your bed bug is basically closely related to the bat bug, because we used to live in caves, and so did the bat bugs. When we left the caves, we had some bat bugs on us, and then we went and moved into our 2-bed semi, and the bed bug is basically now lives just with us, and the bat bug is a separate entity. So, and you've got a kind of similar thing that can be happening here, because also the bird mite is very closely related to the bat bug and the bed bug. So you can see how like the family trees kind of thing, and now you've got this rat mite which looks identical virtually to a bird mite.
Genuinely no idea what is going on about here.
So basically it's like I think it's like a time bomb waiting to happen. This
I suppose you get hybrid, you'll get hybrids eventually.
Who knows? Because everything's crazy. You know, things that live in them sewers down in London, mate.
Yeah.
Honestly, you look inside them sewers and they're totally different to your Birmingham sewers.
Really?
Oh God. Well, there's a constant flow of like oil on the surface of the water, constantly just oil and fat and greases and chemicals and the smells that come up.
Have you seen any fatbergs when you've been down in
Oh
London?
God, yeah. Well, we've got to go and clear one out in Sutton Coldfield tomorrow.
All right.
We've got to check one out tomorrow. It's like, oh,
Lovely.
yeah. And don't forget all these beasties that are living on the rats. So the rats are eating stuff that could be full of all sorts of chemicals and hormones and God knows what else. But then that rat mite is feeding on its blood, and then that bug is getting eaten by other bugs, and bigger bugs and smaller bugs, and then they're biting humans. So I don't know, where could it go, mate? Where could it go? Where it goes, nobody knows.
Yeah,
That's one of our merches, by the way. If you
Oh,
want
right.
a t-shirt, if you
Let's
want
have
a t-shirt, get on it.
Let's have another record. What is it? Oh, go on. The next
Oh,
one.
okay. Vaguely related to... this is Red Hot Chili Peppers, Can't Stop, and the only reason is because the bass player is called Flea. There you go. That's quite a good one, that.
That's a good
That's
one.
quite good.
Really subtle, that is. Really subtle.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got, are we doing Chris from Tipton or Tim from Broadhill?
Let's go, Chris from Tipton. Go on, what's he saying?
My dad's house has fleas. He's currently in hospital, so we want to sort the fleas out while he's in there. When can he go back into the house after treatment?
Well, okay. So, he can go back into the house. Well, someone's got to go into the house, basically. So if he wanted to stay away until the fleas are gone, it's going to be a good 3 weeks. But during those 3 weeks, somebody has got to go into that house every day or every other day to basically stomp around every room, because basically fleas will lie dormant until they feel the vibrations. And obviously you want them to be undormant to get in contact with the treated surfaces that you've sprayed. So somebody does need to go in there, stomp around the house every day or two. Because if they left it 3 weeks and then he went back into the house straight from hospital, then the fleas are going to go, ooh.
They'd muller him, wouldn't they?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah, they'll feel the vibrations and they'll just, they'll go to town on him basically. So
do you treat him and then you go to action?
Yeah, well,
keep living it in a way to.
So some of the estate agents around here will actually pay us to go and do the stomping for them, won't they?
Yeah.
Because if you've got, say if you've got a rented apartment and someone's had 6 dogs and cats in there, and they had fleas, and then they move out. Basically, what happens, even if they've cleaned the place up, move out, and the place is empty for 6 months, well, them fleas, they just lay in what's called a diapause, which is like they hibernate, basically, and they're looking for 2 things: vibrations off your feet and temperature. So as long as it's warm enough and there's them vibrations, literally, sometimes we've had estate agents and they've gone out, and the first set of vibrations is the keys going in the door, right? And they've walked through the door, boom, boom, 2-3 footsteps, and all of a sudden they look down and they're just
their legs are moving.
Really?
Yeah, with fleas.
Oh my God!
And that's literally how it works. You know, they'll just sit there waiting, just literally starving to death, thinking, I just got to feed, I want to feed, and then all of a sudden you come through that door, but when you do the treatment and no one's there, you need to stimulate them to wake up, basically, because otherwise, when they're in the pupa, they're inside like a little, like a silk cocoon, aren't they?
Cocoon, yeah.
So the insecticide can't get on them. No insecticide can get on it. Any insecticide that says it can is lying to you, right? And that's why so many people, they keep on having to do treatment after treatment after treatment after treatment. We've been absolutely inundated because one of our videos has taken off about how to do fleet treatments and why certain fleet treatments don't work, and it's all down to this 3-week cycle, right? And it's in fact, all the way through the video I look a bit insane. I dress up like a school teacher in it, and I've got a big board with a pointy stick, and I'm like, you know what it is, and it's 3 weeks. It's all 3 weeks with fleas, because that 3 weeks, there's nothing you can do about it. It will take 3 weeks. It doesn't matter what you use or how many times you treat it.
And also, it's a kind of similar situation with bed bugs as well. So when we do a bed bug treatment, people are like, well, I'm not going to come back into the house for 3 weeks until the treatment's worked. I'm like, no. You've got to go and sleep in that bed from the day of the treatment, because that will then draw the bed bugs out from their little hidey holes, which could be in the next room, could be downstairs, and that will draw them out to come onto the treated surfaces. So you've got to go. You can't not be go and sleep in their beds. You know?
And bed bugs will stay in that diapause state for a year, I think.
Wasn't there a certain hotel, some hotel that was paying their staff to sleep in the
They
beds?
should do, yeah. A good hotel will pay their staff to sleep.
Yeah.
It's not the one you're thinking about that's just reopened in Stowe.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, it's not that one.
Have we got time quickly to do? Have we done? Who we just done? Tim from Broglio. You've got rid of my wasp nest. Shall I now seal up the hole that we're getting in?
Could do if you want, but it's kind of pointless. It's probably the answer to that one.
Right.
Never seal them up while the nest is active. I think we've covered this on a previous show. Once the nest is dead, if you want to seal up the hole, knock yourself out. But you'll never ever wasp-proof a house. Yeah. They can get through the tiniest cracks and crevices, under roof tiles, little gaps here, there and everywhere. So if you think, I'm going to block that hole, they're like, okay, it makes you feel better, you carry on. But they will get in somewhere else if they want to the next year.
What about that wasp job I went round to the other day? It was literally in the next street to where I live, and someone called me round. It sounded like there might have been a bee swarm, so I thought, I'll dip round there, like, you know. And I went round, and it wasn't, it was wasps above the bay window in his bedroom. And I was telling him a story about a guy down the Delphi once, and he could hear the wasps in his bedroom window, and where his bed was right next to it, just down the Delphi it was. And I said, oh really, like that? And I tapped the window like this on the inside of the window. My finger went through it into the wasp nest. And I've not seen it again since I did that, until I went round to that chap who lives a couple of doors down from me. And I went in this old guy's bedroom, and I touched the wall, the paint on the roof, and it was all that was there was the roof, the paint. That was all that was between him and this nest of 50,000 wasps. Yeah. And if that had broken through on the night, it would have been all over for him, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So whoever he is, Tim from Broglio, you can do it if you want.
Yeah.
But it don't really make any difference.
Pointless.
Don't really make any difference. So if folks want to find out about you and the YouTubers and that, what's the best thing to do?
www.pestinterceptors.co.uk. Go on YouTube, just type in Pest Interceptors, you'll find our channel. We've nearly got to the 60 million views stage.
Yeah, 60 million views, man.
Come on, then have a view so we can get to 60
Please get us to 60, we'll have a little party. When
we're halfway to having a plaque for all the subscribers as well.
Oh, wait.
50,
Oh, wow.
I need 100,000 subscribers. We're 57,000.
And they'll all be back. They'll be back in about a month, and we're going to go out with Tony Basil.
Yeah, this is Hey Mickey because of Mickey Mouse.
I think that's the best one out of all of them.
Tony Basil.